What is happening, people? It is Brian Alsruhe with NEVERsate.com. In today's video, I wanted to reach out to some of my strongman brethren because I know it's been a while since I made a video for you guys. So today we're going to be talking about how to master the KEG medley. But first, two quick things. Number one, I'm wearing this Lions Den t-shirt because on December 1st, I'll be going to Lions Den to do a seminar with Joey Sats, Mary, Olu, as well as Uncle Nick. We'll all be there teaching basic barbell stuff as well as some strongman things. And for those of you who are interested in competing in the NEVERsate Classic this year, we're going to be focusing that seminar very much towards the events that are going to be taking place there. We're going to be kind of unlocking what you're going to need to know for what is about to happen at that contest. Secondly, in just a few short days, I'll be heading out to Sacramento to go visit with Alan Thrall, Omar Esau, Silent Mike, Joey Satsmer will be there, Uncle Nick will be there. We're all going to be doing a big collaboration. So I want you guys to make sure that you are checking up on the Instagram page. I won't be uploading as many videos during that time, obviously, because I won't have the time, but I will be checking my Instagram, trying to upload some stuff there, but we will be doing some live Q&As and things like that. So if you guys do have questions or comments about what you would like to see us do, make sure you are over following that so you can keep up with what is going on there. And back to the keg carry. Now, if you are not a strongman and you do not do any keg carries, do not worry, you don't need to click off this video yet, because the principles that I'm gonna be talking about in this video will apply to any implement that you want, even up to dumbbells, plates, absolutely anything that you want to run around and carry in a medley style fashion. These principles will absolutely apply to that. And in case you're one of the few that is not already implementing some sort of medley or front carry training in your regular barbell workouts, then you really might want to, because it can really help up your conditioning, drop your body fat, help your athleticism, make you more of a athlete in the gym as opposed to just a static lifter. All good things. Now for my strongman, you will see a ton of different variations of these carry medleys. It might not be kegs, could be stones, could be sandbags, could be absolutely anything. But you've seen something along these lines before. It is a 50-foot course where you pick up the keg, you carry it down 50 feet, you load it over a bar or onto a platform, you do some sort of load, you sprint back to a heavier keg, you pick that up, carry it down, load it, you sprint back to your heaviest keg, you pick it up, you carry it down, you load it, time stops when that final keg gets over the bar. If you do strongman for any amount of time, you definitely are going to run into a medley that looks very similar, if not exactly like that, at some point at a competition. Now, I've never claimed to be a smart man, but I am smart enough to know that there are 1,000 ways to skin a cat. So if these carry things do not work for you, I'm not going over exact things. I'm just going over the principles that you can apply absolutely to whatever style you use for your carry medleys to take off some seconds, which is ultimately what we're trying to do here, people. All right, so now the first thing I want you to consider is how you hold the keg. So there are two basic ways to do this. There is an absolute way to not do this. And that way would be holding the keg by both hands on the bottom, because that is going to take that weight and push it out in front of you as far as possible. Plus, you can't crush the thing to your body. You're trying to control the entire thing with your wrist. The thing is definitely hanging below your hip bone. Just don't do it. Which brings us to the first viable way to carry the keg, which is a staggered grip. Now, I call it a staggered grip because I don't have any other better name for it, really. But by a staggered grip, all that I'm saying is that one of your hands is on the far handle of the keg, while the other hand is on the close handle of the keg. Now, the reason why this carry is superior to the first one that I showed is because that top hand is going to be able to crush that thing into your body, which is going to create some stability, as well as you're going to be able to keep the keg closer to over the middle of your foot. There's a reason why when you're carrying big cumbersome objects like a dead body, that you don't pick it up with your arms straight out in front of you, because the further weight is from the middle of your foot, the heavier it is going to be. For that reason, when you're carrying a corpse this Halloween or whenever that might arise, you suck that thing close to your body just like this keg. Applicable for everything. But if you do so choose to use this style of keg carry, the thing that I want you to focus on is using that top hand to crush and kind of pull that keg upward, while your other hand literally gets into almost a static row position and you're trying to suck the bottom of the keg through your body by pulling with your back, not your bicep. Now, the reason why you're trying to hold this thing up so high and so tight to your body is because, number one, the more that you can suck this thing to you and make it one with your body, the more stable it's going to be, which means that you're going to be able to move faster and more efficiently with that object. And then number two, if that keg falls below your belt line, so if it gets below that lower hip, you're gonna have a dead leg, because it's tough to walk when you have your body weight in a keg laying on top of your thigh, which is exactly why that bottom hand needs to row so hard. Now, if you do choose to use this method, just keep in mind that by the time that you get down there to load this thing, you're going to have done something else to actually get that keg over the bar, which is why there's option number two, which is gonna take a little bit more time at the beginning, but it's gonna save you time in the end. Now, this option, you pick up the keg same way, however you want to do it, it does not matter to me. However, this time, instead of trying to just suck it up to your body, you're gonna sit down in a lap position just as if this were an Atlas stone. Now, once you find yourself down in that lap position, once you transfer both your hands to the far sides of the keg and position it as high up on your chest as you possibly can. Then when you stand, this is absolutely the fastest way to carry keg in terms of actual leg motion, because you are so far cleared from that keg that there's no problem of impeding your thighs or your hip or anything like that. If you take the time to pick this thing up on your chest and you are strong enough to keep it there, by the time that you sprint down there, you are in a terrific position because you can move as fast as you want. And then number two, the keg is higher. So if, depending on the height of the loading platform, you may just be able to drop that thing over or do a very little bump to kick that thing over the bar. Which again, the downside is that it takes a little bit more time in the beginning, but it's really gonna depend on what your event is, whether you want to risk that or how much time you actually spent practicing that transition from pick to lap to actual shoulder. Carry. But whatever method you do end up choosing to use, all that I will say is try to make your feet point as straightforward as possible, because when you're carrying something heavy in this position, a lot of times you wanna lean back and point your feet outward and just waddle like a duck. But ducks aren't fast. That said, if you do stick your feet straight forward, you will absolutely travel faster, but you do have less balance. So you're gonna kind of be feeling like when you're sprinting down a hill and you know when the incline just becomes a little bit too much for you and suddenly you realize that you're no longer in control, you're right on that tipping point of falling on your face or traveling faster than you're humanly capable possible of. That will get you a good time. It also might land you on your face. Decisions. The only thing that I will say about you falling down with the keg is do not go down with the ship. Get your hands out of there and get your body as far away from it as possible. People like Frankenstein. Which brings us to the second thing that I want to talk to you guys about, which is transitions. Now, medleys are won and lost in the transitions because we're talking about shaving seconds here. And 1 second in a medley is a massive difference between first and last place. And the very first way to shave a little bit of that time, if you are able to do it, is to set up the kegs in a position that you actually want them to be. But do not be a jerk who's wasting everyone's time trying to set everything up perfect before you go. Sometimes you just gotta go, dude. But if there's a little bit of a lull and you can twist those kegs in a position that will be advantageous for your carrying purposes, I would encourage you to do so. So a couple things I want you to keep in mind as far as keg positioning goes is if those keg handles are just sitting to the sides, then that means when you sprint back, you need to run either all the way around to the back of that keg before you can engage it, or you need to run to the front of that keg, engage it, then turn your body all the way around, which might not be the best thing for falling, which is gonna make you look stupid, or you could tear your ACL, which is also stupid. For that reason, shift the kegs half a turn, or really wherever you'd like them, but you guys get the basic idea here. All you have to do is hit that keg, scoop the bottom, and turn 180 degrees. It's literally gonna take like 2 or 3 steps out of each keg, which is multiple seconds, which is going to put you in a much better position than you would be otherwise. Which brings us to the very next point, which is when you breathe and brace for this. If you run to the keg, you encounter it, and now you're thinking, okay, now get your breath, brace down, and start to lift, then you are so far behind, it's not funny. Instead, this is what I want you to do. As you're coming back from that last keg, when you're about halfway to it, I want you to start thinking about engaging your belly. Suck some air into that belly. That is the breath that you are gonna be picking this keg up with. As you run up, you hit that keg, you're braced now, you scoop the bottom, you have a good breath, you're braced, now you can shift your weight and sprint in the other direction. You were already set up, you did not need to spend any time at that keg other than just hitting it, grabbing it, and go. Yeah, that's a lot faster. So remember people, medleys are a game of inches. It is a very short race, you do not have a lot of time, so the more steps and seconds that you can cut out, it can make a massive difference in your ranking. Do not sleep on this and use it for all of your medleys, because if you just take a little bit of time and brain power to figure out the best possible way to approach those transitions, you will do a lot better on those carry events, which can really help you in your standings as far as the entire contest goes. And the final piece of puzzle that I need to talk about is the load. Now this is where a lot of people go wrong. However, how you finish that load a lot of times is how you picked up that keg at the beginning, so you need to go back to step number 1. Like I said before, if you took the time at the beginning to lap the keg, get your hands both on the far side, pick it up, keep it squeezed to your chest, then a lot of times if you're down here at the load, you're already there. You might need to bump a little bit with your hips, but if you're tall enough, a lot of times that bar is low enough, you just go up, you pretty much run into the bar, you drop it, you turn it, and you're back on your second keg. That is a super fast and definitely a preferred method of some of the top strongmen. However, when we're talking about heavier kegs like 300, 350, 3 higher, it is very, very hard to hold that thing to your body and go running when you weigh 230 to 275 pounds. It can definitely be done, you need to work that. Otherwise, you need to rely on the second one where you're getting one handle on the far handle and the other hand is on the close handle and you're rowing it towards yourself, trying to keep that keg above your hip bone. Now, if you go back to that second tip about the transitions, when you tip that keg, you scoop and you go. This method works absolutely beautifully. The only problem is when you get down to the other end and you need to load that keg, you have to do something with it before you can get it over the bar, because your left hand or whatever your bottom hand is going to be too far down to really rotate that keg high enough to get it over the bar. Which gives you 2 options. Number 1, you actually need to slow down your speed as you approach that bar, because objects in motions tend to stay in motion, and if you have a super heavy keg, especially if it's heavier than your body weight, continuing this way and you try to stop on a dime, it usually doesn't go spectacularly. So you actually need to rest your speed a little bit, then get there, drop in that lat position, get your far grabs, and then throw that keg up. Now, if you practice that transition enough, you can get very, very fast at it, and this can be an excellent way to do this event. It's actually how I tend to do the heavier kegs in my carry medley events. However, I do want you guys to keep in mind that if you are doing this method, when you're moving towards that bar or that platform or whatever, do not look down towards the finish line at the bottom, because your body is always gonna follow your head. And if your eyes are looking down to where you need to stop, then your head and your body are gonna start curling towards it, on top of having that keg in front of you. So when you try to stop to lap the keg, you're gonna keep going and you're gonna end up looking really dumb, because I have often. Usually. Which actually brings me to my third and most preferred method that I probably use the most in competition, and that is that I'm still gonna carry the keg in that second position with the one hand on the far side of the keg and the other hand on the close side of the keg, so that I can do that transition very quickly going from keg to keg. However, when I'm coming up on the bar to load the keg over, or the yoke to load the keg over, as I come up on it, I use my knee to actually throw the keg higher on my chest, and then I use, I guess, momentum and strength to kind of shove that keg over. Now, this is absolutely the best of both worlds, because you can be fast on your transition and your pick as well as your load. However, if those kegs get heavier, when it gets above like 300, that becomes super challenging trying to go on one foot, throwing the knit. It's just, you gotta practice it. Don't get hurt. Don't blame me when you do. The final point about a load in any medley at all is that the person who is going to win is not going to sit there and appreciate their work. Now, what I mean by that is a lot of people, when they load that keg over top the bar, they like to watch it and make sure that it went and it fell. And that is absolutely great, because you're gonna look very dumb if you did not get it over and you turn around sprinting, then you need to go back to pick it up. You're gonna look stupid. Don't do that. What I would say instead is that you practice enough that you can launch that keg over that thing confidently every single time. Quick note here though, do not chuck your kegs at the judges during a strongman competition. That is not going to do well for your scoring. But that said, there's not one of those judges that is not expecting those kegs to be coming with some sort of velocity, so you make sure that you get that thing over, but the thing that you do not do is sit there and wait and watch it to make sure that it hits the ground. In this style medley, as I come up to the loading platform, I throw that keg over, and I know it is going over because I put enough force on it to go over. As soon as I apply that force, I turn and I start running. If it falls, I'm done. These are some of the risks that you have to weigh. But once my hands leave that keg, I am in the opposite direction, and I'm already thinking about my breathing and my bracing for that next keg in that pick. Much like everything competitive and strategic in life, the person who's gonna be 2 moves ahead is always gonna be faster than the person who's reacting. So literally all that we're doing here with this keg medley is looking at it objectively, cutting out all the fat, scraping any seconds, any steps, absolutely anything at all out of it that we can, because that is gonna shave time, and a little bit of time in a very short race makes a massive difference. So yeah, there you guys go. My strongman brethren, I'm sorry it's been so long that I put out any sort of tutorial for you guys. I love you guys. I'm so looking forward to NEVERsate Classic is coming up. If you guys did want to sign up for the seminar on December 1st at Joey Satsmeyer's gym, the Lions Den, go to lionsdenelitetraining.com. You can sign up there. It is going to be a great time, but space is limited, so make sure you do it soon. If you guys did order a program, you should have them. If you do not have them, make sure you email me, because that means I screwed something up, and I will definitely get it out to you sooner than later. I'm really looking forward to collaboration this weekend. It should be an amazing time. We're gonna see how all that turns out. If there is stuff that you guys would like to see us do, or some questions you guys have, make sure you leave them in the comment section down below, and also follow me on my Instagram, because that I'm gonna be more interactive with during that time. So if you guys have questions and stuff that we're just gonna be actively doing stuff, I don't know. Follow my Instagram so you can keep up to date there. I think I will be back before the end of the week. I'm not completely sure, because a lot has to happen before we leave, but I will catch up with you guys whenever I catch up with you guys. Until I do go out to something amazing with us, keep working hard, people. Be nice to each other. I'll see you then.